Hello, Scorpio, and welcome to your October forecast. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's so good to see everybody. Let's get started. First and foremost, this is going to help you through the next month. It's going to help you with sun, rising, and moon sign messages. You can watch for any of those aspects of your chart, and hopefully that gives you what you need. Let's go ahead now and talk about the first part of this reading, which is channeled messages. So every morning, I set an intention to receive what I need to for the sign. And in dreams this morning, I was seeing spiders. And to me, this is a pretty auspicious symbol. And it also represents your strengths, what you should focus on, and maybe some of the challenges. So in many of my decks, spiders will appear like on the Ten of Pentacles or the Wheel of Fortune. And that's basically because their web is just like the Wheel of Fortune. Every morning, they make sure that it's perfectly set up, and they're basically, two things are going on here. One, they are manifesting. They're like, I want a meal. I'm going to put this out there, and I'm going to wait for just the right moment. And then lo and behold, something comes along, and they've manifested that. So it represents doing the work, putting in the web, putting in the groundwork. So part of your opportunity or journey this month could be in researching, setting into motion certain things. Maybe that's legal paperwork, maybe that's talking to people, maybe that's just working on learning and getting the skills that you need, and then just showing up. And the other thing here is recognizing the synchronicity or opportunity and going for it. Now, webs get dirty, they have to be rebuilt. So a spider every day or every time it kind of gets through eating has to go through and snip those cords, so cord cutting, and then rebuild the portion of the web that's damaged, if not the whole thing. So not being afraid to recover from losses, to continue to rebuild and reimagine things, and sometimes start with a clean slate, because that might be the easiest and or best thing. Now, the flip side of all of this is webs are sticky, and it can represent you getting stuck or wrapped up in someone else's stuff. The spider could be someone else. So it's going to be important for you to be mindful of those sorts of triggers or traps that might be laid out, and just be able to move in a different direction. So to me, the spider is powerful, carries a little bit of a warning, but mostly positive and auspicious things you can manifest. So we're going to focus on that. I'm going to look for synchronicities, and then I might look for the spider webs that could somehow pull you into directions that you don't want to or need to be. All right, let's get started. Take a moment, if you will, close your eyes. I'd like you to let go of any thoughts that might be kind of ricocheting around. Focus on the rhythm of your breath. Take a nice deep inhale. On the exhale, feel this energy of release and opening. Picture, if you will, a beautiful blue sky above you, limitless opportunities and possibilities, and nothing distracting the mind or the eyes. Let's welcome in angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters, and in this moment, connect also to your highest self. All right, with the intention now to receive the highest good, please open your eyes, and let's begin shuffling the cards. Okay, let's begin with your catalyst card. This reads the flame. The flame was on the side here, so this could show inspiration coming in from an unexpected person, or an opportunity might be knocking when you least expect it. The catalyst helps you create change. Actually, the word I use is sparking change. So that spark of inspiration or opportunity, again, could be where you least expect it. Keep an open heart, keep an open mind, and this is a time to really give things a chance when you normally wouldn't. This can also be the reminder, much like the hermit discovers, that you are the source of your own power and energy. So this is about finding things in your life that basically kindle that passion, that flame, that internal energy that we so often look to others to provide. So you're your own best counsel. You're your own best intuitive. You're capable and ready, but sometimes you need the little sort of push of confidence. So that's the first thing that I'm picking up on this month. Also, for some of you, this could have to do with inflammation. We'll look at that more when we go to health, but I like to see this more on a positive note, the flame of power, passion, and faith, basically. Okay, we'll leave that to the side. Looking briefly at all the cards to get a feel for where we're headed and what's going on. Some major changes for many of you have already taken place. Now is a time to recalibrate. And what I see over here is also a little bit of recovery. It takes some time to get your footing and to pick a direction, and there's a little bit of healing to be done. But the overarching energy is good. I like that we end on an ace. Let's take it a card at a time. We're going to start with the King of Cups right at the center. Well, this is really a perfect way to kick off the month. King of Cups, this represents you, Scorpio. And in the center position, this is really showing that this month in particular, if it doesn't resonate here, it really shouldn't be in the general vicinity of you. You have to feel it in order to excel at it, in order to really make something worth your time and energy. Relationships could be taking a center sort of stage here. Same thing with creative or intuitive development. Really, as we see here also, this puts you into a position of control, and it's a great sort of steering energy. Use your heart as your compass, put 100% into what matters most, take creative control, and really focus on moving the needle forward. Again, fantastic energy to be at the center of your spread. There could be new love for some of you, or just a really great opportunity that's knocking. Let's look at what's crossing this. We have the Six of Wands, which is success. So again, we have you here at the center, then we have this right on top of it. You kind of have the Midas touch. You have the ability to make things really go in the right direction. So this is success. It reminds you, however, that sometimes in the beginning, it can be a little lonely when you are doing something that is successful, unique, unexpected. You might be a little bit on the cutting edge of success here. Notice how there's no one else in the picture. She's setting the stage. She's comfortable with who she is and where she's at. She's not necessarily receiving or even needing that validation. And that's one of the pieces of advice here, is do it because it feels right. Not because it's popular, not because it's expected, not because people are applauding. And as long as you connect with these two cards, basically your passion and just doing what internally and sort of like, you know, on a spiritual level aligns with you, you'll continue to resonate with the Six of Wands. Also, this is a card of movement. Some of you might even be moving for a new job or a new relationship. So just confirmation and affirmation that the change that is here in the deep past was probably changed for the better. This may have been a challenging year for you. You may have been tuning into this reading thinking, Nicholas, when am I going to get a break? It does feel like things are starting to shift this month. But that being said, there may be a little bit of cutting of the cords to do. We talked about the spider. After it has its meal, the web is kind of a mess, right? This can represent your house, your emotions, your finances being a little bit in disarray, and it feels like you've been doing the work on it. Keep doing the work. This feels like it's very much in the past. With that being said, it still is the foundational card in this spread, and that means that sometimes when the rug is pulled out from underneath us, it has a way of sticking with you. You start to wonder, will I ever be able to find my footing again? Based on what I see here, yes. But there's some emotional stuff here. I really do feel like for some of you, it could have been a relationship or some finances, because the Five of Pentacles can represent that feeling of being on the outside looking in, but it is both of those two things. Sometimes someone isn't there for you, or sometimes you just lack the resources that you need. We are looking at this beautiful stained glass window here, which is, it's kind of like you're now on the inside. And so I feel like the card has changed. The energy has changed. The coin is flipped. But emotionally, there's still a little bit of a scar there. So whatever you need to do to create healing in that area, please do that. You have two cards here in the recent past that tells me you've been busy. I would expect that, especially with the Success card. And so we have the 8 and 9 of Wands. Let's talk. The presenting card was actually the 8 of Wands, and then the persevering card is right underneath it. And that tells me that not only do you have what it takes, but the key to your success is just pushing through a little bit some of the fear that we just talked about, and reminding yourself that you've come so far that to stop now would be a disservice. So take a moment, if you will, celebrate how far you've come, celebrate the fact that you survived. That's one thing. And I always like to use, sometimes if people think you can't do this, or they say something to the effect of like they don't believe in you, I use it as fuel. I'm like, you don't believe in me? Well, I'll show you. I'm going to be successful. I'm going to be happy, and allow that to then be my way of, first of all, educating you that it can happen, but I don't believe in sort of like arguing or trying to get even with someone like that. Just live your best life. That's the best quote unquote revenge, because you're just doing your best, right? Before we move forward, I want to quickly highlight the traditional 9 of Wands. As we can see, this person here, they have a little bandage on their forehead, and really this represents that feeling mentally of, I'm tired. I'm tired here, and then it kind of like travels to your body. So one thing that you can do to work through this mental fatigue is to take ample breaks, take a vacation, take a sick day, take a holiday. The other thing here is there's no rush. Do it in your own time, and do it when it's done. We have graduation right after this, the 10 of Wands. So the only one that's putting pressure on yourself possibly is you. Push back if anyone's being sort of like too pushy, but otherwise I really think that the recalibration starts here. And so if there's anything going on that you need to do to kind of take care of yourself, now is the time, and this card is validating that. As we take a look here at your crowning card, we have the Chariot. And I think one of the opportunities this month is to pick a direction. And this one is lacking the Chariot. We just have two horses, and it's sort of like who's in control. And that is what this card represents, is both control and leadership. And so if you're not typically the one that steps into the leadership role, there's so much opportunity associated with being a leader, or taking at least ownership or control over something, since that was your center card. So you've got what it takes, but it's a matter of setting this up and saying, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the reins. Once you do that, I mentioned that there are no followers right now. That might be because people aren't used to you doing it. You're going to have to believe in yourself, first of all, and then keep showing up. And eventually these followers will come through and align to what your vision is. So leading by example, setting up the structures so that you can be a leader, and then getting people around you that are in alignment, because the only thing that is kind of an opportunity in these two horses is they're not looking in the same direction. So some of you may be stepping into a family, a job, a circle of friends where there's wildly different opinions. Everybody wants to be the leader. Nobody's listening to each other. So you have to kind of be the voice of reason, the connecting thread. This is where the spider's coming through, and kind of bring it all together, all right? If you can do that, it's going to be worth the work. It's going to be worth the energy. This also can just represent getting organized and just being a little bit more proactive than usual. And again, this is going to feed into the general theme of success, which came through at the center. Let's look at what's coming through in the near future here. We have a card here showing stability, and I think for many of you this is stabilizing after this, rebuilding. So in the Thoth deck, the Four of Pentacles is a little bit more of a, like the four corners or the foundation of a house. Now in the Rider-Waite-Smith tradition, it typically shows a beginning, but not enough, a tip of an iceberg. And sometimes we kind of judge something by what we see, and this is saying, open yourself up to receive more. This person is protecting their heart. They're holding on sometimes for dear life, but by letting in more abundance, more support, more opportunity, you can build to the next level, which we see here, the Five of Pentacles. So the main thing here is to let go of something that doesn't supply enough. Again, it can be a relationship, it can be a job, it can be anything where you put a lot of energy in, but you don't get a lot back. It's also you letting go of stress and not underestimating yourself. In other words, you are worthy, you are ready. I hope you are also willing to receive. All right. Looking now at how you're showing up, it's pretty good, actually. And this is aligned to what I was talking about with the fatigue energy of the Nine of Wands here. So we have the Eight of Cups. I like to look at this as a card of second chances, a chance also for you to gain perspective so you make the right choice. And for many of you, it shows some consistency that's coming through. It's a cyclical card. If you like what's going on right now, continue. As you can see, this is building to something even better. If it's not good enough, however, now is the time to step back and think to yourself, what might I change? Is there a path I haven't explored yet? And now is the time, if you're feeling any of those things, to go for it. Before we move on, the traditional Eight of Cups here in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck shows a couple of things that I'd like to highlight. First of all, travel. This might be a great time to travel for work, or perhaps to take a seminar or a class, somewhere that you normally wouldn't. This is also about exploring the world and seeing what else is out there. Are you in the right job, in the right city? Are you in the right space right now? And if you really won't know until you have a chance to explore, so this card is inviting you to do just that. As we look in the environment here, this is possibly the biggest area of opportunity. That tied in with what we just saw here a few moments ago in what's available. So resources are constrained a little bit. You have everything it takes to succeed, but someone around you isn't validating you, possibly with the proper support when it comes to time, energy, money, or love. And now is the time to advocate for more. If we quickly look at the Rider-Waite-Smith card here, we see what happens when we don't get what we deserve, when someone disappoints us. It tends to make us feel like we're not worthy. Realize, again, this is just one person's lack of vision, one person's possibly lack of responsibility, and don't let that get in the way of everything that's possible here. You notice on this card there is a stained glass window. In this particular deck, the focus is the window. This represents shelter. This represents available resources, a helping hand. So there's two ways you can read the Five of Pentacles. You can focus on this, which is that feeling of disappointment, not being deserving of something, or just like it's not working out. Or you can go to where the energy is opening up, where people are saying, I do value you. All you have to do is come through the door. So let's look for the connections. This is the first big shift that we're seeing in this spread, and it's in not putting any more time or energy into a relationship, a job, or anything really where someone makes you feel like we see these people feeling here. Instead, we want to focus on that community, support, and healing energy that is the stained glass. And this is a chance for healing to take place. If you haven't given yourself ample time to heal, please do that. This is also about reaching out and finding a group maybe where you can, talk. So this could be a support group. This could be a group of friends, anything where you feel like I have the support that I need to go to the next level. And here in Hopes, Fears, and Opportunity, we have the next level. I love the caption on this card. It reads Vibrancy. And this is one of the best of the Queen cards because she is imaginative, she is bold, she's fiery in both passion and personality, and this is a time for you to step into that. Scorpio already has this energy of passion. I think just really being bold, and if you haven't ever thought about being in a leadership position, now is the time. We have boss cards, 3 of them, and then we have a card saying you are set up for success. I know that many of you may not have received what you needed to get to that point, but now is a time where you can kind of leapfrog into this synchronicity, this opportunity. And we do get just that. An ace. The ace can represent a contract, someone that's coming forth and expressing interest in you. Now, unlike an ace of pentacles where the offer's on the table, this one could be you getting a little bit more clarity, just like it says on understanding a contract, or you could be reaching out and asking someone, are you ready? Are you interested? But we do see a return on that. If you are unhappy where you're at, this is really an important time for you to seek out new things. That's why, again, when we look at this one, the Eight of Cups, it is about taking a break and seeing what the world has to offer. I like where you end up. I like the possibilities. I really do recognize some of the challenges here. By the way, the Five of Pentacles can also be connected to this feeling that in the past, a parent, a teacher, a sibling wasn't there, and there is a little bit of a soul wound. Mostly what we're seeing here is confidence, but I also do see a lack of resources. This is a good card for entrepreneur energy. And so if you wanted to be an entrepreneur or step into building something, this was also a good building card, as we talked about. You can do it. You just may need a little bit of support. When we go into careers and finance, we'll look at that in a little greater detail. But let's start with the first of the four categories, health. So before I get too far ahead of myself, we're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. Health, the first one, includes mind, body, and spirit. And as we take a look at that, we have the Winter card here. If we look at the card in the upright position, it shows energy of advisorship or elders coming through. And the card being reversed can represent for some of you this desire to try something that is counter to what is expected. And I've seen this thematically coming through for a lot of signs. Basically, you need to go your own way, to quote an old Fleetwood Mac song. And we can see there's a very similar energy of the Eight of Cups and this. This can be a youthful figure walking away from tradition and saying, that may have worked for you, but it's not going to work for me. Winter can also represent not just the season which the Northern Hemisphere is heading into, but it can represent a feeling of isolation, sort of like rigidity and lack of movement. And when the card is reversed like this, it's starting to warm up the heart space. It's starting to allow things to flow just like they would in the spring. And so I feel like for many of you, this is it's a springtime of your heart, a springtime in your life, new energy, renewal, and rebirth. And allow yourself to go in the direction that feels right for you. So back into what we were talking about earlier. It really needs to resonate here, and then everything else starts to align. Now let's look at the cards, and again, standard disclaimer applies here. I'm not a doctor, but I'm going to help you look at where the energy is and see if that isn't having some effects also on the way that you're feeling. Okay, so looking at the cards, what's going on here? Either you moved or you need to move, some of you. We have the Tower here in the deep past, which represents disruption. The movement can be in a relationship, a job. It can be also for some of you, literally the environment, deciding to move from one home, apartment, or condo to another. And have you also given yourself a chance to unpack the emotions, unpack the boxes, explore the neighborhood? As someone who's just recently moved, I understand how it takes time. You have to kind of prioritize a box at a time, a day at a time. Pretty soon you just feel like you are comfortable and you're where you need to be. Make some time for that, okay? This can also represent a challenge in your health. So there may have been a part of your general health and well-being that hasn't been able to stabilize until now. What we do see here at the center is control and success. So the ability to basically turn a corner and maintain. That's really what this is. But it does require basically every day being diligent is the word coming through, and being basically your own manager and boss. If you need help, have someone to keep you accountable. But I do see a general positive traction that's happening here this month. I just am also validating that some of you are super busy. And as we were talking about a little bit earlier, as we look at these two cards, don't get lost in the shuffle. Give yourself time to focus on mental and emotional health. This can, again, represent just feeling completely exhausted or emotionally overwhelmed. that's why the support energy here of the Five of Pentacles is going to be important. To that end, the Five of Pentacles can also represent healing when it comes to your knees, your ankle, your feet. Some of you may have actually had some elective surgery, or maybe there's an existing challenge in that part of your body. Take time, be careful. And especially for those of you that might be living in inclement weather, this is about slowing down so that you can avoid an icy patch or a wet patch of grass or ground and basically avoid an injury. This can also just be a cold or flu. So if you've been working yourself to exhaustion, as we saw some of you might be doing, slow down. Take some time. You don't have the time right now to deal with that. So by just pacing yourself, working smarter, not necessarily harder, that is going to allow you to have more than enough. And basically this will help you not run out of energy before you accomplish all the good stuff that we see here. Okay, looking at some other things with respect to health. So holding on to stress or tension longer than you need to. We were looking at this here. I feel like many of you may need an outlet, a stress outlet. It could be exercise. It could be, again, therapy. Just working a little less so that you have an ability to decompress. If you're constantly on the go, then the body doesn't get to rest, and it sometimes forces you to rest with a cold or flu, and we don't want that. Taking a vacation, taking a sick day, as we talked about, really important here with the Eight of Cups. I also just remembered that we were going to talk about areas where there could be inflammation. The key area that I'm picking up on here would be knees, the feet, and really just the legs in general. So focusing on making sure that there's proper circulation. If there's any problems, obviously work with the doctor, but just that's the area of main sensitivity that I'm picking up on. The other one could be for some of you right around the temple or the jaw, if you tend to clench your jaw at night, because that area is also highlighted in this card. Okay, let's move on to the next area. We just looked at health. We're going to look at wealth. This is your resources, your life purpose, and your career. Okay. Obstacles are detours in the right direction. I believe that there really is no such thing as, something that's happening to you. It's happening for you. And rejection, yes, is a form of protection. And if you can get into that feeling of, oh, that didn't work out because I wasn't being respected, because I wasn't being rewarded adequately, because people were too pushy, because I really needed to get out there and see what else there is. So that situation, whether it was a breakup, is someone that rejected you and said no on an application, or you just finally thought enough is enough, that was the universe gently nudging you in another space. And this is specifically coming through in wealth. So layoffs, being made redundant or being fired, quitting because you just can't take it, or simply not getting what you wanted. All of those things are not fun. I've been through a number of those, but I do see like 2 or 3 steps down the line how this could be very helpful. And let's talk about that, okay? We're going to break it down into 3 categories. First of all, those of you that have a job seekers, students, and retirees. Looking at those that have a traditional 9-to-5 job, the area of biggest opportunity, challenge, and deficiency is in resources. So you may be at a company where you're doing an amazing job, but they are stingy. This is a card that the Four of Pentacles, literally this person is really stingy. They're holding on, miserly, not really giving you what they're supposed to. And it almost verges, for some of you, it could be very close to like 7 of Swords. If they say they're going to do it, but they keep holding back and they blame the budget or the economy or inflation or something, there's always an excuse, right? And so at a certain point, hold them to account, and if it doesn't change, it might be time to look at something new. There could also be bad morale, because that 5 of Pentacles card was right here. And you can't always fix that. If you're not in a position of authority, the most you can do is bubble it up to authority, but there may come a point where enough is enough and you decide, I need to explore something else. If everything's good right now, let's say you love your job and you want to stay. Couple of challenges. I do see restructuring coming through. With restructuring could come new leadership. I actually kind of like I like what's here right now. I think there could be challenges in what's coming through because it looks like what might be precipitating the change is poor financials. So maybe one or two financial quarters where it isn't enough of a return. And so someone is coming in to cost cut. And typically that does involve reduction of labor or more energy on your plate. I feel like you probably will be okay, but it's a lot, right? So you'll have to think about if you align to the leader looks good, but the initial goal is not fun. They have to come in and clean things up. I think that if you have a major decision to make, taking a sabbatical could be great if it's offered. Usually that's only available in educational sort of areas and if you're tenured, but sometimes that's on the table. Take it if you can take it. I think there's a lot of movement and a lot of opportunity. So speak up. That's the main thing here in existing jobs. If you're doing well and there's some challenges, speak up and let people know what you can add, what you would like to focus on, and be clear. Get some clarity before moving forward. I'm not seeing immediate danger here. It feels like whatever should have happened already has. The change now is possibly in leadership. And then you just have to ask yourself on a heart space if you like where that's going. Also, it feels like some of you may have lost a leader and you're kind of trying to fend for yourself and figure this out. And that can be a little bit challenging too. But overall, you have an opportunity to either explore the options out there or to make a change and speak up and possibly be a part of this. So one advantage to a tower moment, and the tower is in the past here, is once something's changed or is about to change, you can say, I'd really like to do this. And because there's so many things going on, you might be able to change. It's one of those moments where your voice matters more than ever. And also, if you can show yourself as someone that gives really good counsel and has really great insight, that is also going to solidify your place in the company. A quick glance at entrepreneurs, and then we'll look at those that are seeking jobs. This is the month for entrepreneurial energy. Creative control is what many of you seek. You have great ideas. I think that you can get other people on board with that, but it feels like you need some additional money before taking the leap. So take some time, get that ledger out and really figure out what's missing. If these two cards come together, this could be you, this could be a partner, it brings us to a nice space. The Nine of Pentacles would be a good place, 5 + 4. So I think if you can partner up, this is the time to do it. If you have to do it on your own, it feels like you need to double what you're planning on kind of going forward with, because contingency funds are necessary. You need to basically plan for months where there may not be a lot of work. The groundwork energy needs to be set. So legal sort of costs, and not only that, but like incorporating the business and also making sure that when it comes to things like if you need any copyrights not copyrights, but trademarks, all of that stuff, it really boils down to legal and maybe accounting. All of that costs money, a bookkeeper and things of that nature. So double your expectations. That way you're going to have plenty of padding and you'll be happy that you did it. Moving on to job seekers. Some of you may need to travel in order to get the job that you want. You may have already moved. If you are going to move for a job, see if they can pay for it, because I don't like how much that could cost with respect to what you currently are getting right now. So that's one thing. The other thing that I'm seeing here is that there is a decent amount of competition, and we have 2 cards of travel. So I would expand beyond your current geographical zone if you're willing to do that. I would also expand to different industries because the broader your net in this situation, the better it will be, because it does feel like there's a lot of activity, and it could take a little longer than expected. So by increasing your geographical sort of, exploration, and then also trying like a different industry or repackaging your skills, that could help. Could you find something? Yes, we end on an ace. Could you get a leadership position? Yes. And the only thing that I see is a caveat, and this is true of those that have a job, those that are trying to start a business, and those that are trying to get a job, is the money. You want to really drive a hard bargain and get ready to articulate why you're worth what you're worth. do the research, show what the best practice is and the average salary is and things of that nature, so that you have a leg to stand on. Okay, so it does look possible this month, but expanding beyond what you've done is going to be key, and seeing any of those obstacles or rejections as helping you explore something new. Again, going to the energy of the Eight of Cups, which is this. It's basically trying different things that you wouldn't normally do, and you can only do that if you see what else is out there, okay? Everybody would be better for just kind of exploring the options this month. All right, looking at students. Overall, it's pretty good. I feel like many of you are mastering whatever it is you're trying to learn. I see success in this path, and I see success in this semester. I think that the thing that is lacking here could be energy. You might be working yourself to exhaustion or sickness. Financial things always come up when I'm looking at students. So obviously reach out if you can for help with that. Don't overextend yourself. I would say in this moment in time, there's really not a lot of extra room in your schedule for a new activity. So don't add anything. If you were going to do anything, subtract something right now. This is the hardest card for students. There's this feeling of newness, which is fun, but there could be a feeling of, how do I belong? What's the new schedule? Like, kind of getting organized is really, really important. Stick to a sleep and wake schedule. Stick to some sort of a studying schedule. The more you can get organized and kind of like bring order to chaos, the better it will be. If there's anything in your life that distracts you or takes you out of this, it's time to say goodbye to that person, place, or thing. Retirees. You're in a new world now. That's what we see here. This could be recent retirement for some of you. I love what some of you are trying to do here, keeping a really active schedule here with this movement, Eight of Wands energy. I think that there could be new love coming through. We're not even there, but new love and new friendship. So we have two energies here that are complementary. I think that the one thing that you're focusing on a lot, and it makes sense, is resources. So what can you do? This is your sort of your challenge and homework assignment, but what can you do that doesn't require a lot of expenditure of money? So finding things that are local, maybe even doing things with friends, like getting inventive with that so that you feel like you can have some fun. It's important to have fun. Taking some road trips, like getting in the car or public transportation and exploring, because exploring is important this month. But it doesn't mean necessarily having to get on a plane, for instance. There's a lot of different ways to travel, and it could be little tiny trips that bring you that sense of retreat. And again, if you wanted to do something like a wellness retreat or a spiritual retreat, all of that is coming through with this card too. Okay? Let's move on and take a look at love and relationships. All right, so in love and relationships, we got a reversal. Let's pull the card upright and look at it. It says adrift in shallow water. So you basically may be entering into something new. The shallow energy here is showing that sometimes it can feel a little overwhelming, but you can still stand. That's one thing that I get. Let's look at the rest of this. It says, take a few deep breaths, reconnect to your inner peace, notice the small things and appreciate them. So basically this card is showing me that you are safe. It's like someone who just learned how to swim or is learning how to swim. You start in the shallow end and then work your way to the deep end. You don't just jump straight into the deep end. This is also bringing to mind the Temperance Angel with the 2 cups. Just test the waters. This is especially true in new relationships, but even in old relationships, you want to just make sure if there's something that you want to bring up, that you gently test the waters, okay? And find the necessary balance, because temperance really does resonate as I look at that. We'll look at 3 categories here. Current relationships, those that are seeking love, single, and happy. All right, if you're in an existing relationship, whatever was going to change feels like it's already changed. One of the main things here is, do you recognize, like, and embrace that change? When you first start dating or after many years of marrying someone, there's subtle changes that go on. And there may be a day where you wake up and you think, wow, look at how far we've come. Or you may think, who's that person at the other end of the table? And this is a moment here where some of you are figuring out if you're still on the same page. And that is the biggest challenge here. I see 2 people that want to work it out. but they're not looking together. And the Chariot is a strong card of control. Look at these horses. They make me laugh a little bit. They're kind of giving each other the side eye, and you can tell that nobody wants to take the first step. Be the one that takes the first step. Keep it simple. Don't make it overly complicated. One step at a time in whatever it is that you want or need to talk about. Where's the spark? Have you been spending enough time together initiating that intimacy? It's not just physical, folks. The flame is having a conversation with someone, watching TV with them, doing an activity that you love, hearing about their day. It's just the time and the sort of closeness. Yes, it can also be the physical intimacy. If any of those things are lacking, now is the time to create a little bit more space in your life for that. Many of you have been focused on getting ahead and it's working, but what now I see is people separated because of their own paths. So finding a common ground and making time for each other, possibly taking a brief trip or vacation, letting the partner know that you hear them, that you support them. By the way, you don't have to fix them. You just have to be the support. So when we look at this card here, the Five of Pentacles, the challenge in this is someone may be hurting. You're the shelter. You're not necessarily the doctor or the person that's going to heal them. So just be the shelter. Wasn't there a Taylor Dane song? I am your shelter. Something like that. So that's it. Just be the shelter, be the space, hold the space. And that is going to help more than you could ever imagine. What else is going on in relationships? The partner, or you, we're going to go back to the traditional cards today because they help a little bit, could be holding on to something. Could be a grudge, could be a safety, just blocking. Like, I'm not going to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that. They could also be walking away in an argument, and this is frustrating. You should have the capacity and the ability to speak frankly and freely. And if you can't speak frankly and freely, if someone walks away, then you're just left in that space. So encourage the partner, please don't walk out. Let's talk this through. And likewise, if your initial inclination is, I'm just going to walk out, let the partner know that maybe you've lost your patience, but you're trying. Now, here's the last thing. If somebody walks away and they don't come back, that's a way of communicating that they've had enough. Unconditional love means letting people go if you need to. So even though we're looking at existing relationships, that's one of the messages here. Give them the space, give them some time. And then if you or they both need to move in a different direction, it's okay. It's all right. All right. I do like the communication is open. Keep the lines of communication open. Get the clarity that you need before making any assumptions. That will help you avoid an argument. I'm not really seeing an argument here, by the way. That's the good news. I just see people that have grown. I see maybe a little bit of lack of communication, but the ability to land on that if you try. And in healthy relationships, there may just be sickness or some financial challenges, so you're going to work together to fix that. All right, if you're looking for love, this is the most important card this month. Do you feel that, now I'm going to go to the bangles, do you feel the flame, the eternal flame? You either feel this connection or you don't. And if you try to talk yourself into it, even if friends, family, or even just your own practical side is saying, but it makes sense on paper, it needs to make sense here too, okay? Briefly looking at what's coming through. Can you meet someone this month? Absolutely. We have the Queen of Wands coming through here. This card basically represents passion. It's a demonstrative energy. I don't really read gender, so we're just going to look at it as a type of person here. I love that it says vibrancy. This person comes in, and you really, it's kind of like there is a storm that's entered the room. You can't pay attention to anything else. So I think that you could be swept off your feet. Head over heels is what we see here, and it's karmic in nature. The karmic connection here, the karmic lesson is over finding a way to not have to control each other. So celebrating the strength that both of you are bringing, because we're basically seeing you and this energy here. So the King of Cups and the Queen of Wands. So this is sensitivity, this is passion, and this is empathy. This one is a little bit bossier. This one kind of is unapologetic, but they're both passionate. So the common ground or the common thread here is passion and hopefully compassion. That's what you bring to the equation. So help them see how similar you are, and then you just pick and choose. Sometimes one person leads, sometimes the other one does. I like that there's no chariot and there's no reins for those of you that are learning the karmic lesson of control, because you both get to be the boss. You both get to take turns at the wheel. And that's the big takeaway here. I actually think this could help everybody, but it's especially coming for those of you that are looking for new love. If you just met someone, it could get serious quickly, and someone may say, hey, I want to make this exclusive, or what do you want, or do you feel the same way? They're trying to get the clarity that we see here. I actually think it could be a very exciting month. The only thing that you want to be mindful of is physical health. It feels like you're busy, because this can be traveling, a lot of energy and movement going on in your life, and kind of getting your footing. But otherwise, I like what's coming through, a strong fire sign or just a really passionate energy. And I definitely get karmic energy with that as well, head over heels. So be mindful of that and try to just one step at a time. Temperance angel it. Don't kind of go into the deep water like the moon card. All right, moving on for those of you that are single and happy. I think it's a perfect time to be single and happy. The areas that you can focus on are financial growth. I think that also your personal growth and career growth are just kind of like off the charts. You might also be taking a break and some time off to explore or take care of yourself, and I'm fully supporting that as well. Okay, let's move on to Destiny. In Destiny, we have the Deer card. Let's actually take this off so you can read it. It says Power, and we see the deer here. If you look at I believe it's Kim Krantz's Wild Unknown, this is like the King of Pentacles is a deer with the antlers and that big Ace of Pentacles. And so it kind of reminds me of that here. What is it that you want to really tune your energy into this month? If you put all of your power and energy and insight there, this is like an Ace of Pentacles that marries up with that Ace of Swords, then you can really start to see things come into focus. You are powerful. Someone may have made you feel less than with these, but look at the cards of power. Power, 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 and success. So suffice it to say you've got what it takes, depending on which deer. If we're looking at like a little baby deer, a fawn or something, sometimes they easily get scared, but even an adult deer can easily get scared. So try to rein in the energy of fear and think to yourself, I've got this, I can do this, I'm ready and primed for success. All right, let's take a deeper dive into sun, rising, and moon sign messages. Let's move that over there so we have a little bit more room to shuffle. Sun, rising, and moon. Okay, some of the first reversals coming through here. We'll start off with the sun sign. Wow, we got the star coming through here, which is just another, the sun and the star, two different stars basically. With this card in the reverse state, first of all, let's look at it upright. This is really beautiful actually. It kind of carries with it some of the energy that you would normally see in a Fool card. The nakedness here is not for shock value. It's to show that it's time to let down the veneer or the veil and to allow people to just see you as you are. And it's kind of like, take me or leave me, right? And not to have to feel this obligation to mute your light or to do something different that doesn't feel like it's aligned to your path. You are a star. You have the star capacity this month. We saw power coming through, right? In the Destiny card, we saw success coming through, and you showed up at the center too. Suffice it to say, it's your time to shine, but something's holding you back. Whatever that might be from a confidence level or a support level, don't let it do that, okay? You owe it to yourself to shine. Let's move on from sun to rising. We have an upright Four of Wands here. I love that it says celebration. This is an empty Four of Wands, but it's holding space for the partnership that typically is at the center here. There may be new love. We talked about that with that center card. There may be new friendship. There could be something that's super stable, whether it's a new job or something that you're doing that just brings this sense, the antithesis of this. So this is change and instability. This is stability, and it typically comes with a person or people. And celebrate that when it comes through. Embrace it and think to yourself, I'm ready. It may take more than this month for that person to show up, but like the Field of Dreams movie, you build it first, then the people come. So if you build it, they will come. The Four of Wands in your life can represent the work you're doing to heal your mind, body, and spirit. It can be all of the things that you're creating in your life that are inviting for others. And it's basically you realizing that you're more than enough. Someone comes in and they're like, I want to be a part of that. So keep on doing the work that you're doing. Say yes to a party. Say yes to a work invitation. That celebration could be where you meet someone, where you make that connection. All right, moving on to moon sign. We have a reversed King of Wands, very interesting. So this is encouraging you to keep an open mind, to personify leadership, even if it doesn't exist. I mentioned we have a lot of cards that are showing absence. So there's a leader with no people. There are two horses with no chariot. And I feel like many of you are noticing something lacking around you, and you're going to try to bring it into balance. And so be a good leader. Show how it can be done, even if no one else has done that before. There's a time to be stubborn, and if now is the time for you, that's great. But there's also a time to let down the walls a little bit and listen to constructive feedback. So I feel like you're balancing those two energies this month. So know when to listen, know when to hold your ground, and trust your intuition to help you make the right decision. All right, now is a chance for you to think of one final question that you have, and I'm going to pull a card to answer it. It can be anything that I haven't already addressed in this general reading. Let me go ahead and shuffle the cards, keep thinking of that question, and let's see what's coming forth. Well, I love it. So we have our second real ace here with the Ace of Wands. As a yes or no, this is a clear yes. What we're trying to do is give you the energy to get this. This is vitality and energy. So what you can really focus on this month are things that, we go back to the flame, things that recharge you. Just like an electric vehicle or your phone or your watch, things need to be recharged. So do you feel that flame of passion, of energy? That's going to spark your engine into the right direction and give you what it takes to sort of see this goal actually manifest. There could be a new idea that's coming through, plug into that, do something about it. There could be an opportunity put in front of you that may require action and a signature, so don't delay. This isn't a time to delay. You don't have to, like I said, dig directly into this and get overwhelmed. Take one step at a time like the Temperance Angel, and you should be okay. Focus on your own vitality and energy as well, getting ample sleep, and again, making sure that you're not overextending yourself. And that, my friends, is everything. A very powerful reading for you. I love that it seems like you are finding your footing after some significant changes. You're making the most of it. And remember this, everything is kind of aligning you to that right direction, even things that don't feel great in the moment. All right, everybody, that does bring this reading to a close. If you enjoyed any part of it, I would encourage you to either subscribe if you're a first-time viewer, or if you've never done so before. You can also like the video itself and then leave me a comment. Let me know what in particular resonated with you. First of all, this helps me. It also helps other people discover the channel because the video gets served up a little bit more because of participation. So I don't know how or why the algorithm works, but that kind of stuff does help out. So thank you in advance. Let's look at Apollo while we're talking. I think he's napping behind. Oh, so sweet. I know a lot of you like to take a look on it and see what's going on. He's just chillaxing in the background. So let's finish up talking here, and then I'll end on a picture of him. A reminder, you can also find out more about what I'm doing by giving me a quick follow on social media. It's always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh, on all the major platforms. You can go to my website if you need additional guidance on, which handle is what. But again, it's typically just Nicholas Ashbaugh. Remember, I don't give private readings. I'm not going to send you a text message asking for something. If you see someone acting like that, it's fake. Block, report, let me know about it. Stay safe. The way to give back is right here on YouTube through super stickers, super chat, and of course memberships. This helps me rebuild my studio, create more videos just like this, and just show up. So thank you so much for that extra support. It really does make a difference, and I really do appreciate that. And that's pretty much everything. So let's kind of end with a quick look at Apollo. He is still sleeping behind us. I'll go on the main camera for a second. Yes, hey buddy. All right, everybody, thank you so much for showing up today. If you enjoyed this, also check out the daily videos that I do. They're under the Shorts tab. You can check out the weekly collectives on the Live tab. All of these on my main YouTube channel page as well. And I hope to see you soon. Wishing you all the best from both Apollo and myself. Take care, everyone.